Okay, one of my YouTube friends gave me the topic of love and lust. So, before I start to talk, I want to ask you, can you tell the difference between lust and love? In this, we're going to go over four different things. The topics are you in lust or love? Is it physical or emotional? Are you in it for the long term? And what are you hoping to find? Hmm. So, with that being said, we're going to tackle just a little short introduction. Poets, songwriters, and scientists have always pondered the question, what is love and what is lust? Sometimes it can be difficult to tell if you are in lust or love. Both are hard to define, and the division of the two can get blurry. Love is one of life's most intense emotions, and when you are in lust, it's easy to think you are feeling love, but the two are very different. If you've been struck by Cupid's arrow, maybe you are dealing with a lust and love situation such as we're here to talk about today. So, are you in lust or love? Love commonly starts out as lust, and the two might even have overlapping stages at some point. Lust can be defined as the initial desire to be with that person. Love is defined as the experiences and the quality of person to person together. Love is the wanting to be with that person after the initial experience of the feeling and desire for that person, which is known as lust. As I was saying, lust may never turn into love. Lust is what first brings people together. It's an initial desire to be with the person, while love is a desire to stay with him or her. Both experiences felt by a person for another person, but when you feel lust for someone, generally you're just attracted to him or her. You don't have that deep emotional connection that you do when you feel love for a person. I believe love is more emotional, whereas lust is it's more physical. Lust is the yearning to want to have a connection with someone, when love is you already developed a connection with someone. Kind of like best friends that have known each other for many years, and one day, one best friend approaches the other one and says, "You know, I love you." I've been thinking about it over the years. That's because they've had time to get the connection of love. Now, the initial relationship could have started out as lust. He seen he seen a girl that he liked, so he approached her, and they became friends before they became lovers. Or he seen a guy that he liked, and they became friends before they became lovers, and it developed into love. I don't feel that lust will generally turn into love. Because as I said, and I will state again, lust is the initial desire to be want to be with that person, whereas love is the desire to want to stay with him. There are different emotional elements that get involved with love and lust. When you're in love, you will find yourself connecting with other person and feeling an emotional engagement with him or her. Lust means you're kind of looking for romance. It helps you narrow down a potential mate from the world's dating pool. That's all it really does. Lust generally takes a form of a deep physical attraction for the other person that may never turn into a mental connection that I feel you would need to be in love with a certain person. Tackling the next subject. Are you in it for the long term? Hmm. I believe firmly that lust and love are intertwined. Lust is what brings you in, and love is what keeps you there. When you're in love with someone, you see a future with the other person, and your partner is included in your life plans. Lust is usually for the short term. For the short term, you kind of see sex or friends with benefits, but you don't see house, kids, marriage, family, dog. You don't see it. Um, Lust is a romantic infatuation, while love keeps people together long after infatuation has faded. So, I guess you can define love as being the willingness to stay in a relationship after the emotional, not the emotional, the romantic infatuation has faded. What are you hoping to find? Love it's an extraordinary experience. If you're truly hoping to find love, remember that love has to be nurtured. Lust is an emotion you can rely on. coming on strong and right away, whereas love and romance are connected to trust, loyalty, and an emotional attachment. If you're hoping to transform your relationship from lust to love, the most straightforward thing to do is to pay attention to your partner's needs and be responsive. Without the responsiveness that you find in love, it'll always be lust. If you're talking to me and I'm just thinking about wanting to be inside you, it's not really a love emotion. But if you're talking to me, explaining to me your day, and I'm like, I feel for her, I feel for him, or you feel for them, or whatever, that's more of a love connection. It's the mental capability, whereas lust is, let's see how fast I can put this condom on and how dark it can really get in the room. Do you understand what I'm saying? Um, if you think you found love, don't be afraid to be vulnerable. A lot of people lose out on good things because they're afraid to be vulnerable. Like, many people have that I don't want to say I love you first thing. Whereas the other person is thinking, I don't want to say I love you first either. So oftentimes it never gets said and it stays in a lust situation, which brings an argument that you can never fix and you'll never have that love. Let your partner know how you're feeling. If you have to be willing to trust your partner, promote the relationship and keep it going long after the first linger of lust has just disappeared. So, once again, I urge you to ask yourself, can you tell the difference between lust and love?